Hello again, it's Zoe from Red Kitchen Girls, just doing a quick tutorial on how to transfer an image onto a cake. So this is a really cool way of getting something that is in two-dimensional picture form onto a cake to paint, to pipe, to bas relief, to do whatever it is you want to do with it. Really cool way to do it. And you can do this with an image, you can do it with a photo, you can even do it with a font. So if someone's given you a wedding invite that's got some particularly cool fonts on there, you want to be really clever and duplicate those onto the side of a cake or to the top of the cake as a nice little monogram. Really cool way to do it. So all you need essentially is your image, your cake, some tracing paper, a pencil, and some sort of tool. So you can either use the end of a paintbrush, you can use your pencil again. I've got this little nail tool that I like to use to paint with. You can use that. You can use a frilling tool, Dresden tool, whatever you've got, just something that's got a nice little point on it. You don't want something that's sharp because you don't want to cut through your paper later on, but just something that's got a nice little edge that you can transfer with is all you need. So first off, let's talk about the first thing you need to do, which is cover your cake. So your cake needs to be hard. You need to have your fondant hard or as hard as you can, because the last thing you want to do is, after you spend all that time covering your cake, is then go and poke it and prod it while you're tracing and end up with all of your fingerprints and everything all through it. So make sure that your cake is as dry as you can possibly get it. I like to, if I'm painting, I cover either the morning so that it's dry enough for me in the afternoon, or preferably the day before. So try and get your fondant to be dry and hard. The harder it is, of course, the less likely you are to put your fingers and your whole history onto that cake. So once you've covered your cake or your cake board or whatever it is that you're doing, set it aside and it's drying, you can start with your image. Now I've got a little sketch of a unicorn here, and all I'm going to do is use my pencil. Now don't have a freak out about pencils. These are called lead pencils. They're not lead. You're not going to eat it and go crazy and die. They're graphite. The wood in the pencil would do more damage than the graphite would in it, I believe. So I don't have any issue using these, and I know that a lot of other cake designers do the exact same transfer method. Don't freak out about your graphite. The only thing I will mention though is that there's a few different between pencils. So you've got a HB pencil, which is like old school, writing in your exercise books and that sort of stuff. HBs are really great for taking notes, but to draw with or to trace, what you need is a B pencil. So you need to have something that has got a number and a B rather than the HB. The B indicates that your lead is, or the graphite is nice and soft, so that will mean that you get a greater transfer of the graphite onto the tracing paper, which is what you want. If you go with a HB or even a H pencil, you're going to be scratching at that all day to try and get some of that graphite onto the tracing paper. The softer the lead, the easier your life is going to be. Now the number indicates how soft it is. So if you've got a 2B or 4B, 5, this is a 5, you've got a 6B. Your 6B, the higher the number, is softer than your 2B. So the higher the number, the softer the lead. Something like a 2B or a 4B, ideal. I happen to have a 5B today because that's all I can find because my daughter's thieved all my pencils. But this is perfectly fine for what we're going to do with it today. So once you've got your image, now if you want to, if you are a bit nervous doing this, you can get some masking tape. You can mask it all down to your bench so that if the phone rings, you're going to come back to the exact same spot. I'm just going to hold it here and just give you a rough demonstration because I've already traced this one out. But basically all you're wanting to do is take your pencil and channel back to primary school and trace in the image. Now if you've got an image like I do here that's got a bit of shading, then you can absolutely, especially if you've got a nice soft lead, you can put in all of that shading so that that all transfers to your cake, and that will make your life a lot easier. If you're not confident painting, it will make your life a lot easier when you go to transfer to paint or pipe or whatever it is on your cake. You're not then having to freehand and second guess yourself with your image. The only thing I will suggest at this time is to think about the way your image is facing. So I like to only trace once. There's a few people I know who trace and then will flip their image and and even tape the back of the paper and trace it again. I just can't be bothered, to be honest, so I do it once. So I will trace the image onto the paper, and then it's this side then that I will be putting on the cake then to trace. So thinking then is that that image is going to be flipped. So whatever this image is, my trace will be a mirror image of that. If this is going to be a font or a face or something that needs to look as it is exactly, then what you need to do is when you're on your printer and you're going to print, you need to hit the flip image and print in reverse, so that then your image is printed in reverse. The last thing you want to do is spend hours tracing, put it on your cake, and then realize that your E's around the wrong way. So just keep that in mind when you're tracing, because this image here, this side that has that graphite on it, will be the side that then touches your cake, so the image is going to flip. So what I've done is I've gone ahead, so as not to bore you, and I have traced my unicorn onto some baking paper. And now I have my cake. So I'm going to put this straight onto my cake now. Now again, if you're not confident with holding this in place and getting it done, use some acupuncture pins, use some masking tape, use whatever you've got to use to make yourself feel comfortable and confident. And that is primarily anything you need to make yourself feel confident and comfortable. I say go and do it. All right, so we've got our image, of course, graphite side down. And what we're going to do is we're going to work out where that sits on our cake. I'm going to pop it on. Now at this point, if you wanted to get some acupuncture pins and pin it out, then you can do that. I'm going to use this little tool here. And all I'm going to do is trace around this image. Now of course, tracing over these lines is going to transfer all of that graphite down onto your cake. Now the more complicated your image, of course the longer this process takes. But I'll just continue to do that, and we might fast forward this bit of the video anyway. Alright, so I think that I've done pretty much all of that image, probably a couple of times. Now, keeping in mind that if the phone was to ring or something was to happen and I was to walk away now, I would need to make sure that this stayed in place. If I pick this up and move it and put it down too much, I run the risk of having double lines. And now, all things being equal, the moment of truth, I'm going to transfer that off there. And you can see I have got myself an image on there. Now that is really dark on there, which is completely fine with me because I'm going to outline this in black and it's not going to matter. If you are looking for something a little bit lighter than that, don't use a 5B, go with a 2B pencil. Like I said, the softer the lead, the more transfer you're going to get and the darker it's going to be. But I think you'll agree that that's going to be pretty easy now to paint by numbers and colour in. What do you think?